Shalom Yashra'Allah. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rechak, that belongs to the apostles and elders of the millstone who rule and taught us this truth, and salutations to all the Akim pushing us in truth and in sincerity with charity. We're the brothers from the Great Millstone Camp here in Chicago, and Lord willing, it's a fine lesson. All right, the word tariff from the online etymology is arithmetical table, official list or table of customs duties on goods for import or export. A law regulating import duties, tariff price assessment, list of prices, book of rates. Let's see, information notification, a making known inventory of fees to be paid. You see, so Trump's tariffs, are gonna be basically make things more expensive. Prices are gonna go up. All right, and the longer this is in place, unemployment rates are going to go up as well. All right. And there's going to be a scarcity of goods, because these things are going to affect cars, electronics, and foods, you see. And, when the storehouses are empty, best believe Jacob's trouble is going to be in effect, man. People are going to be invading one another, all right, for the lack of bread. That's the times that we're living in and approaching is the time of Jacob's trouble, you see. And these other countries are they're bringing their own tariffs, retaliating against Trump, you see. So, there's a thing called trade wars, and that's what it's going into, and it's going to lead to an actual war, all right? And the least of the flock is going to draw them out, man. These small hatters, they're already kicking off World War III, all right, in Western Asia, what people call the Middle East. All right, and these tariffs are making matters worse, man. And it's just ultimately it's going to draw us in. It's going to draw in America, that is, into World War III to defend this, so-called Israel. All right, and you got a precept? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is 2 Chronicles 15:5. This is, and in those times there was no peace to him that went out, nor to him that came in, but great vexations were upon all the inhabitants of the country. And this is about to happen again, man. And you can see this with the tariffs. They just came into effect, and people are already starting to react to it, man. People are scared to buy cars. They're trying to go buy more American instead of export because of the tariffs. People can't afford things anymore. They're starting not to be able to afford things. Prices on imports are high, so they're right now it's these great vexations, are happening to these people, man. And soon, people are not going to be able to afford to go out and eat, man, based on how high these tariffs are going to make things, man. So that's going to cause people to get angry. It's going to cause the crime to rise, people to start robbing people because they can't afford certain things. So this is going to create a whole lot of chaos, and we're starting to see it, man. It says, verse 6, this is, a nation was destroyed of nation, and city of city, for Yahweh did vex them with all adversity. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have a war brew up because of this as well, because of Trump. You already have Canada talking about they're going to cut off energy. Mexico saying, they're going to retaliate. So these countries, they don't like this as well. So this could be another reason that makes us closer to that World War III. So it's going to be nation destroyed of nation and city against city, man. The Lord is vexing this place with great vexation because, it's that time, man. It's that time for the Lord to visit the earth, man. And the fact that this is happening, it's a sign that He's near.
Right. These are the signs that He told us to look out for. All right. The time of the end, man, when He's about to visit the earth that He created. But what was I gonna say? You mentioned something about the war. Damn, it slipped my mind. But here, let me read this in the NLT, 2 Chronicles 15 and And 6 in the NLT, nation fought against nation and city against city, for God was troubling them with every kind of problem.
Yeah, every kind of problem. And these terrorists are one, man. These people are literally bugging out because of that, man. They're getting mad at Trump. They're fucking flipping out. Oh, now I can't afford this. I can't afford that.
That's what it was thinking.
And that's what's gonna start. Like I was saying, crime rising, but also uproars, man. Which is one of the things the Lord said when you begin to see the uproars of the people, know that hey, that I am near, and the Lord is gonna come to visit the world which He made.
That's what it was, sedition among men, because here it is, there's no money for America and its citizens, but yet we're giving out money to Israel, the state of Israel, all right, but we can't help out, our fellow so-called fellow citizens here, all right. People are going to uprise against the government. You already see that with Trump's so-called voters, the MAGA people. All right, they see that Trump is not for them. Trump is for Israel. You know what I'm saying? And it's clear as day. And they are becoming against Trump. There's a house divided, man. All right, we're coming into a time like no other. This is 2nd Ezra's chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So eventually, all this commerce, these trade wars, is going to cease, man. Things are going to be too expensive, all right, for it to make sense, all right, for our economy. And these truck drivers are going to stop, traveling across the country, delivering goods to these cities, all right? Things are going to tighten up, man. You see? And eventually, all the storehouses, your corner stores, your grocery stores are all going to be found empty, man. Verse 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. All right? Because they weren't on their watch. They weren't expecting or looking for these things. Because when they say peace and safely, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. This is verse 24. And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run, So, friends are going to, people who know each other, they've known each other for their whole lives, are going to be against one another. Yeah. People eventually are going to be invading one another. All right, it's going to get so bad out here that people are going to be eating their own children. They're going to convert to cannibalism. All right. Once all the leather belts, the shoes, and anything that they could eat on is gone, they're gonna eat themselves, man. It says that a man will even bite his own arm, even, And the springs of water, the springs of the fountains shall stand still. These living waters, this truth being brought out as well. The Lord's gonna have a famine of the word, man, and you're not gonna be able to get these breakdowns, this understanding. You see, because there's going to be a famine, an actual famine, but a famine of the word, which is so much important. To know and understand Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to be taken away, man.
Right, because this is going to be our stability and strength of our times.
Yep.
So the Lord is going to shut that down, and whoever doesn't have that is going to be, through when these things come, man. Because the only ones that are going to be protected and are going to be okay when all this goes into chaos are those that took heed to the commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, that study this word, that sanctify themselves with the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai.
Right, those that gather faith for a treasure, man, the elect. But this is verse 25, 2 Ezra 6:25. Whoso remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. You see? So those that take heed to the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai are going to dwell safely, man, quiet from the fear of evil, and we're going to be delivered. We're going to see the salvation of the Lord, which is going to be greater than the time of Egypt, man. And He's the one, the Lord's going to physically bring us to the land of Yasharallah, man. Okay. All right.
This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And because everything that's gonna happen with these tariffs. Now, there's gonna be other things that are gonna cost us as well, but right now we're simply touching on the tariffs. This alone could cause major impact, man. And well, really, it is causing major impact, and it's only gonna get worse. You know, and when all this shit happens, people are gonna start getting frustrated. They're gonna start showing their true colors. Like the Joker said in that movie, and and Batman said, these people, their morals, it's all a sick joke. And the first sign of trouble, they all turn into animals, man. So this is gonna cost that, man. So expect chaos to increase in the next few weeks, the next few months, even days, man. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're not gonna regard any police officers, military, governments. They're gonna go against them, man. It's gonna be a real insurrection, a real uprising, not like that stage shit that happened in the White House. What was it, 2022 or 2021? Whatever year it happened. It's gonna be actual, people going against the government, man, not listening, uprising, uproars, causing fires, just destroying shit, man. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, that's gonna ultimately cause martial law. All this chaos is gonna make the government say, look, you guys are going, crazy. We're gonna have to do something, and they're gonna bring in martial law. And then, meaning what? That now people are gonna have a hard time just simply going to the next block. Visiting somebody, going to work. You're gonna need to have a permit or some type of identification saying why you're traveling over here. These are the times we're coming into, man. It says, and if they want to deny you, they could, and now you won't be able to go whatever area you could, man, or whatever area you wanted to.
Oh yeah, if I may, because Trump, he recently signed the executive order for that, like, I think 1798 Alien Insurrection Act thing. So on April 20th is 90 days from that time when he signed it. So they're gonna revisit it and I guess have a meeting about it and see if they should bring in the military to be on the highways and byways, to be on these street corners throughout everywhere, to start regulating things, man. We're entering, Jacob's trouble, man. Martial law could be declared at any moment.
Yeah, and there you go. So that's how this is gonna happen, man. By these tariffs, by this whole immigration thing. He's a slick devil, man. Whatever opportunity, whether he creates one or he takes advantage of one, he's gonna make sure he uses it to his advantage.
Well, yeah, they have I'm sorry, they said a few other people said, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and they're gonna do that, man. And the Lord told us this was gonna happen, man. But as long as we keep our faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we're gonna be all right. So this shit is gonna get chaotic, but the Lord has our back, man. So marvel not. The scriptures talk about be not afraid of the desolation of the wicked, because that's who it's for, man. Right. The wicked, man. So we're gonna be all right, man. But for these people, this is what's coming to them, man. And these tariffs are gonna be a big part of it. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. And that's what this is going to cost, man. A lot of products that come, overseas, are going to cost so much, they're not going to be able to afford it. So it's going to cost them to what? Oh, my friend, man, I seen it in his basement, man, when he, when one day he took me in his house, he had a whole bunch of this, man. Maybe he'll let me borrow some. You go to his house, he tells you no. Now you're like, oh, this motherfucker. Now I'm gonna have to steal it from him. I gotta feed my family. Now it's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna cause shit like that, man. This is, so get ready to see things like this, man. We already seen how people acted when that CV-19 happened. Imagine now when you can't get a food that you need, man. Things to survive. People are gonna, they're gonna show their true colors, and they're gonna start betraying one another, just like the scriptures are saying. So we're close, man. The fact that this is happening is proof of this, man. It says, that was the point.
Okay.
We're real close, man. The Lord is about to return, man. Matthew 24 tells you, when you see these things, behold, he is at the doors. So it's only a matter of time.
Okay. There's 2 Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? It's going to be Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? Mighty to save. This is verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? All right? Hey, it says, make not haste in the time of trouble, man. And be not afraid of sudden fear, you see, when it comes. Because all these things is coming for the wicked of our people, as the brother mentioned. All right? Just like when the flood came, that, and all the plagues, the pestilence, the sword, the famine, that was all created for the wicked, man. And for their sakes came the flood, as Sirach says, 40, And same in these days, and their wickedness has surpassed the deeds of the wicked. We're talking about our people, the Israelites. The Lord's going to visit them first, man. Judgment's going to begin at the house of the Most High, man. 1 Peter 4 and 17. But this is 2 Ezra 16 and 18. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Right? They don't consider. All right? They don't consider the consequences. They don't consider their latter ends. The Lord's going to pay you a visit for all your wickedness, man. That's why, like Moses said, choose ye this day life. All right? Do that which is good and live, man. This is verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. You see? So we're coming into a time of great judgment, man. All right? But also a time of deliverance, because these things are just ramping up. All right? But the Lord's going to deliver his elect as well. It's not just doom and gloom, but there's also salvation, man. There's a balance to this. You see?
It's gonna be just like Rome, man. When the uprisings and all these things was happening, there was also more entertainment going around. Mm-hmm. So they show you that in one of the episodes of the new show that just came out, Those Meant to Die or something like that.
Oh yeah, Peacock or some shit.
Yeah. Roughly, I forget the exact name, but Those About to Die, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So basically, they were uprising and they were going attacking part of the government, part of the king's, places, because they had lack of food, right? And then the king said, "Hey, look, start some sports." They're like, "Oh, we haven't even gotten ready." He's like, "Just start them." So they started blowing the trumpets, to signify that the sports were starting, and everybody just, okay, you know what? Let's go over here. We'll worry about this later. It's the same thing. That's why the scriptures talk about that these times are going to be like in the days of Noah and the days of Lot. They're still going to be marrying. They're still going to be drinking, even though all this shit is still going on around them, man. Because Esau's is going to try to deceive them, man. And that's why a lot of them are going to be, get, caught off guard. Because even though all this shit is happening, they're not paying attention. They're not taking it serious. And they're still marrying and drinking. So when the Lord comes, they're going to be like, oh, shit. we didn't know and all that, and all trying to make all these excuses, but they're not going to be able to. The Lord's going to be like, look, I sent the prophets first and foremost, and second of all, I sent amendments. I sent scourges. I sent this, and you still didn't want to listen, even though you didn't have food, you couldn't afford this, you couldn't afford that. You guys were still partying. You guys were still bullshit. You guys were still not repenting. You guys were still going off, And then just like in the days of Noah and the days of Lot, they're gonna be caught with their pants down. They're gonna be destroyed, man. This is Luke 17:26, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. So the same thing, man. They're gonna have all this shit going around, the Lord plaguing them, yet they're still gonna find a way to party and bullshit, still find a way to marry, still find a way to build or plant, and make it seem like nothing's happening. And that's when the Lord's gonna come and catch them, with their pants down and destroy them.
This is Proverbs 1:32. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. So, hey, those that take heed to the warning, all right, are going to hide themselves in the secret dwelling place of the living power, man. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You see, and they're going to turn back to the Lord and serve him with their whole hearts. All right, we're talking to you Israelites. Only the elect of the nation of Israel are going to be delivered, you see. Not all Israel this time around, man. And here it is, we're at the end. So hey, consider these things, man, because this could save you and your household. All right? But you have to repent. You have to turn back, now. You know what I'm saying? Don't put this off from day to day, because the Lord will come upon you on a sudden, man, when you least expect it. You got to move with urgency with this, man. Because, hey, this could happen at any moment. We don't know when. So that's why we gotta stay upon. We gotta watch and pray. And with that, we hope this lesson was edifying and exhorting. Again, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who wrote and taught us the truth, and salutations to all the Akim, pushing this word in truth and in sincerity with charity. Shalom and a Baba Ball. Kwam Yasharala.